Mike and Sulley are back. Mike and Sulley are back. What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Suit Up Geeks podcast. Today, we are reviewing episodes 1 and 2 of Monsters at Work. And to help me break it down is the man, the myth, the legend. He is Loretto. Follow him on Twitter at Marcellus Durden. What is good, Lo?
How you doing? Had a super long day at work, but it was a nice way to unwind with some lovable monsters from the Pixar Monsters universe. I miss these guys, even like those nasally teenagers that push the cart around. Like, it was just, there's so many iconic characters in this universe, and like a lot of them made cameos, and it's such a delightful time. What a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, man. And I got to be honest, straight up. I'm not prepared for this podcast. You know why? I literally have Monsters University hoodie that I wore all freaking long during the 4th of July weekend. And I didn't think like far in advance to realize, oh, I should probably wash that in time for this review. Sure enough, like we have literally like 10 pounds of laundry going down right now after our vacation. So unfortunately, I'm not prepared. But we did see the first 2 episodes. Spoiler. We're going to be grading it out of 10. We're going to be discussing our favorite parts and looking ahead to the 3rd episode. Before we get started, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you guys love Monsters University, Monsters Inc., Mike and Sulley, John Goodman, Billy Crystal, you name it, you are at the right spot because we love these guys. Loretto, you know how much I love Pixar. So it's good because we haven't done that many Pixar pods as we should. Like, we should be doing all these on the reg. But I'm excited. So guys, if you're watching live, please be sure to comment. Let's start off, Loretto. What were some of your favorite parts of this episode? Or let's start off with your initial impressions of the first 2 episodes.
So, especially the first episode, it was such a pleasant surprise to be into the present timeline, or at least the timeline that we remember at the end of the first Monsters, Inc. film. No offense to people that defend Monsters University. I didn't like it at first, but my kid got into it, and eventually it grew on me. Let's just say that it grew on me. It's still one of my least favorite Pixar films, but what I wanted from a Monsters, Inc. sequel is kind of what we're seeing right now. I wanted to see the Laugh Factory. I wanted to see like what happened after Waternoose went down, and apparently Sulley's the CEO now, which is awesome. And I loved like the introduction of Tyler Tuskman.
Yep.
He's a really fun new character to latch onto and kind of go on this journey with, as he was the last of the scare recruits before the scaring floor turned into the laugh floor. And I just there's so many little details of this series so far that is just so fun. Lots of callbacks to previous films and lots of great cameos, like seeing Roz in the very beginning of episode 1, Mike Wazowski. Like, you know, those kinds of things are so iconic to this universe, and such a memorable quote that I do that all the time. Like, I'll be at work, like, you forgot your paperwork, and I'll make my employees under me sign paperwork. Like, so this stuff's near and dear to my heart. I think so far the show is off to a great start. It's really fun.
Yeah, with my first initial impression, how can you start with the opening 15 seconds of the show? If I didn't have you, that whole theme song. Mike and Sulley are like legit, probably top 5 duos in all of Disney and Pixar, right up there with like Timon and Pumbaa. I love the duo, and the fact that it opened up with this like a cappella version of that, man, I just was like transformed. I was just transformed into all the world building, the amazing world building that I know and love about Monsters, Inc. And it's kind of a crime that it took this long for this to happen, because what an incredible world it really is. I was honestly kind of worried about this show coming in because Monsters, Inc. is so near and dear to my heart. I was a little worried it wouldn't have been done justice, but I was honestly pleasantly surprised. I like the callbacks. I like that they kind of gave it some new ground, some fresh ground to kind of explore into something new that it wants to become. So I really enjoyed it. So let's go into favorite moments. Loretto, what was your favorite moment?
So we get introduced to MIFT, which stands for Monsters Inc. Facilities Team, if I'm not mistaken. And what a lovable band of goofballs, kind of like Uzma Kappa. They're just a bunch of misfits, and they're led by, I believe it's Flint, right? Or Flint?
Yeah.
Flint? He's voiced by Henry Winkler, the frickin' Fonz, coach from The Waterboy. He's such a delight, and he's so goofy. He was a pleasant surprise, and I think that's what kind of gives this show this charm. Like adding these new characters and adding really great voice talent, like Mindy Kaling as Val, and there's a cameo from D. Bradley Baker as Banana Bread, making like farting noises with his mouth or whatever. So yeah, this lovable band of misfits, I would say episode 2 when they get Tyler to wrench the nut and they kind of go. They go on like a maintenance mission, and like that was like awesome. It really showed what they could do. Wrench the nut, yeah. It was so cool, and it really showed what they could do. Because at first I was like, "What's the point of these guys? They're all idiots." But when it came down to the nitty gritty, it was like, "Oh, we got to get the power to this door. Well, you get down there and hit the wrench and hit the switch." And like they actually were doing their job, and it kind of showed Tyler like, "Hey, these guys mean business when they're not goofing off in the basement wherever they're at." So that was a good moment for me, man. Wrenching the nut.
That was like my favorite. That whole initiate, you kind of stole it. Like I loved that entire segment where I love the initiation. It brought me back some like Finding Nemo vibes when they're like the Shark Bait on the Ring of Fire.
Yeah.
And that was the vibe I was getting. It was so much fun. I already touched on the song, but as stupid as this sounds, my favorite part was truthfully seeing Mike and Sulley back and just being transformed back into that Monsters Inc. Like I love that we're getting, that what happens between Monsters Inc. and Monsters University. Like we don't know. We know that things go very well for Mike and Sulley down the road, but we don't know that how the transition goes. So I'm really interested. Like that was not what I was expecting because I didn't see any of the trailers. I like to be in the dark, kept in the dark with those kind of things. So I was actually intrigued somewhat. But my favorite moment was just simply seeing Mike and Sulley back. Just they're back. Like I don't know how else to explain it. Is that they're just back? And
yeah, it was great how he stirred Mike's coffee with his finger. And it's just like such silly little moments, but there's such like you said, there's such an iconic duo. Like they're probably in my top 5 if I had to pick. Film history, I would put Mike and Sulley right up there.
Yeah. All right, but there are some problems I do want to discuss with you. There are a couple problems. The animation. Did you have any issues with the animation in this show?
Well, comparatively to like the Bad Batch, or even like Monsters University, which was obviously a film, a little bit. It's a little bit rougher, and I've even seen some of the shorts look immaculate. Like I don't know if you saw, but it was a short Pixar film from the Monsters University world, and they throw a party, and that looks fantastic. It looked incredible. It was like a 4-minute short or something like that, and it's great. It's great. I mean, it didn't look terrible, but it definitely looks cheaper.
Yeah, like the rendering, the quality is just not there. Like Mike and Sulley I thought looked great. They were on par, but all the new characters, there was definite, I don't know, it just threw me off for a little bit. The other nitpick I have is we're not going, well, I know, again, it's early. It's way too early to be nitpicking like we are. But the one concern I do potentially have is, man, I remember seeing Monsters Inc. in the theater and the credits roll, and I love how it explored the human world and the monster world, and it had so much warmth and heart and soul. And I remember like sitting back and going like, man, I have never seen an animated movie with that much heart. Like I just felt so full. They're not going to, it from first glance, from the foundation, it does not seem like they're going to be kind of going that route. Is that any bit of a concern to you?
Oh, 100%. I think they're leaning on the comedy. I don't like how Wazowski's a little bit of a punchline at this point. I'd like to see, like, especially because they are the leaders of this company now. They are the veterans of Monsters Incorporated. I would like to see a little bit more leadership, and I would love to see some emotional beats. I know it's a kids show, but really great kids shows also have really good emotional sections. So hopefully between Tyler and Sulley, maybe they get like a mentorship kind of relationship, maybe, or even with Wazowski. It would be nice to see him kind of open up more and not just be like, I'm Mike Wazowski and I'm crazy, ha ha ha. Like, it's like you dial that up to 10 for like 10 episodes. It's like that might get kind of old. So I'm okay with it for now. And I love when Billy Crystal goes into song. They did the song at the very end of episode 2, the dangers of comedy. And I thought that was great, but I just don't want to beat a dead horse with, oh, it's so crazy, so crazy. So
yeah. It's the show definitely seems to be mostly focused on the inner workings of the monster society versus how, versus drawing, parallels and comparisons and contrasts with humans. And that's something I love so much about the first film. So any other thoughts before we get into grades, dude?
Yeah, really quick. Shouts out to the goth girl in the comedy class. She was part of the Hiss fraternity in Monsters University. And there's a bunch of little cameos here and there. It's just fantastic. Like I said earlier, those nasally guys. Sorry, Mr. Sullivan. It was cool seeing those guys. And then like Celia. I love Celia. She's voiced by Jennifer Tilly. And it was cool seeing her get promoted to the laugh floor, which was formerly the scare floor. And, it was so great how she was like, yeah, I don't answer phones anymore. You can talk to the receptionist. And she just leaves the front desk. And it's like, I imagine like that's a really great workplace comedy. Because like I can imagine like a receptionist at one of my buildings, like, yeah, I don't do this anymore. And just walking off. Like, so that was great. I love that.
Yeah, really good. All right, how would you grade the first 2 episodes, man? Should we separate it or just do one grade? What do you think?
We could do it separate. I mean, they're both their own stories. So, the first one, it might be a little bit of a nostalgia factor. I'll give it like a solid 8. Cool. It was short, to the point. It established where we were at in the world. Waternoose is in jail. Sully's the CEO, and I can't even pronounce what the hell Mike's position was. I don't know. He went off, and then Tyler is honestly a really intriguing protagonist. It's like I thought it was really interesting to introduce a guy that went into this thinking I'm going to be a scarer, and then everywhere he looks, people are trying to be funny. He's like, "Are you guys kidding me? Like, what happened to the scaring program? I went to school for this." So I think he's a really interesting character that I hope they really expand upon going forward. So I'll give the first episode like an 8, solid 8, and then the second episode, a little bit lower, but it's still enjoyable. I'll give it like a 7.7, right in the middle there. I had fun with it. I liked the maintenance thing, but to be honest, I wasn't vibing with the wackiness of Mift. I think that's going to be a theme for the rest of the season, but they're a little bit too out there for me. And maybe kids like it, but hopefully they tone it down. I hope so.
For what it's worth, dude, I fully 100% agree with everything you just said. Coming out, my first was better. Second one was a little bit, which I enjoyed, but not as good. I watched it both the second time, and I actually enjoyed the second episode a lot more on my second viewing. So I think I'm going to say I'm in that like 7.5 out of 10 range for both of those. I can't ignore some of the issues. I can't ignore some of like the concerns I have for this series moving forward. Especially like, you nailed it. Like too much Mike could be a bad thing, where I want heart, I want warmth, I want story. So even though we're complaining about the animation, like that's all nitpicking. At the end of the day, if they give us really well layered, fleshed out characters, that's what it's all about when it comes to Monsters Inc. and loving these amazing monsters.
Really quick, I'm talking about like wanting emotional beats. I actually forgot the best one from the first episode. I really liked how Tyler wrecked the floor and was like, hey, you'll never see me again. And I really liked like how Sulley kind of took that spot that I was hoping for. He said, hey, don't worry about it. We used to work in the mailroom, like you can work your way up, like you're good. And I just really like that. John Goodman is so great, and the way he delivered it was like big old Papa Bear, Papa Bear Sully. So that was great. So
I like the message of this show. Like, if you work hard enough, like you can accomplish your dreams. Like, I think they're setting up like a thing where like, even though like you maybe you dropped out of college, you're not alone. And it doesn't mean it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. I think there are some really interesting vibes going on with this show that I don't necessarily think we've explored yet in Disney or Pixar regarding that area. Any final thoughts before we wrap this up, dude?
That's about it. I just wanted to touch on that. And yeah, man, so far so good. I can't wait to watch it next week. It's going to premiere every Wednesday, or?
I believe so. But I was so confused. Like, why isn't Bad Batch out today? I have no idea. It said original content, right? So I don't know. I'm very confused.
Well, I think all new content after Bad Batch, right? Because Bad Batch premiered last Friday, I believe.
I guess so. So, anything you want to plug, bro?
Well, we got our Loki review tomorrow. Stay tuned on this channel as we do every weekend. The finale's next week. I can't wait for that. Are we gonna do a Black Widow conversation? Is that happening?
Yeah, I believe we're gonna watch it on Friday.
Okay,
so we can do like a quick review on Friday if you're down.
Yeah, man, let me know. And we always do our Bad Batch reviews every Friday. So I look forward to that. And do we want to plug that draft?
Let's do it. All right. July 24th. If you're watching now, it's in a couple of weeks. Saturday, 8 o'clock East Coast time. We are doing another movie draft, and this one will be most amazing, most badass, greatest female movie characters of all time. It'll be 10 teams, 5 rounds, live. And what happens is we pick all of our favorite teams. Each team will have 5 picks, and then we'll do a post-game show right after that where we just trash talk and drink and have a great time and just celebrate the movies. After that, the teams are then thrown to Twitter in a single elimination 10-team bracket challenge, and you vote for your favorite team of amazing female movie characters, man. So it's going to be a ton of fun.
Hey, I can't wait. There is so many iconic characters. And before we get there, are we including animation in that as well?
Absolutely. 100% all in. So anything.
Holy moly.
Yeah. I will give you a forewarning. Nicole and I, on our way down to the beach, we started ranking our favorite female movie characters. We got to 15 and stopped. That's how tough this is. So just Loretto, my little advice. It took days to finally get to 40.
I was gonna say my ranking is gonna be all over the place, but I already know I'm gonna be heartbroken because the first 2 or 3 rounds are gonna be tough. So stacked.
This draft is absolutely stacked. We might have to talk about maybe doing 6 rounds because it is.
We probably should.
Stacked. Like the top 10 are just. What was the last draft we did? It was Action, right? Was it Action? I think it was Action. Summer blockbusters. Yes, same kind of scenario where there's just so many great ones, and I'm trying to figure out in tier how this is gonna play out. That's half the fun. All right, but make sure you follow us on Twitter at the Suit Up Geeks. If you love Monsters at Work, if you love Monsters Inc., Pixar, Disney, please be sure to like this video and subscribe. Subscribe to the Suit Up Geeks podcast channel and follow my man Loretto on Twitter at Marcellus Durden. For Loretto, for myself, thank you everybody for watching. Catch you next time.